versus being nice really boils down to whether you want to be respected or not. I'm back with another video. But first, y'all like my haircut? I got it cut a couple weeks ago and I'm really feeling it. Trying to take better care of my hair. But the cut is tea. Today, I kind of want to talk about nice girls finishing last. And I know we hear that saying all the time and we've kind of accepted that that's the case, but that doesn't have to be the case. So let's break all of this down, right? As an ex-nice girl, because I was a very sweet, nice girl. And what I mean by that, I was kind of afraid to step on toes. I was afraid to really say what was on my mind or what I was thinking because I was so concerned about how everyone else would receive it. Kind of just always went along with the flow, even if I didn't really want to. It kind of goes along with being a people pleaser in a way. But I noticed how detrimental that was to myself, to my mental health, and to establishing real, genuine, solid connections. So when I hear the saying nice girls finish last, for one, I think this is a thing because when you're a nice girl, you're considering everyone above yourself. And when you do that, you are putting yourself last, which isn't healthy, which doesn't really help you get to where you're trying to go as fast as you would maybe like to. And so the whole idea of nice girls finishing last, to me, is really the concept of putting yourself last. So of course you're gonna come in last place when you put yourself last. So let's talk about how I've transitioned from being a nice girl to being someone who puts myself first. I would not consider myself a nice girl anymore. I would say I'm kind, right? You know, when you're kind, you're still respectful, you treat people with care, but you have more boundaries. You respect yourself first. And I believe being kind versus being nice really boils down to whether you want to be respected or not. Most nice girls are not respected. They're walked over and not being treated with the value they deserve versus being kind. You still treat people in the same ways, but with stronger boundaries. So if you feel like you're being disrespected, speak up. If you feel like you always end up in situations where you're doing what's best for the next person and not what's best for you, that's being a nice girl. And it's time's out for that. You gotta prioritize yourself first, even if it may hurt the next person. And I think that's also a hard thing with nice girls because it's like you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. You don't want to step on toes. You know, you want to make everybody feel happy and pleased and considered. But when you do that, are you considering yourself? I think if you have the capacity to put others before yourself, meaning you've prioritized yourself first, you've gotten all your affairs in order, then yes, it's okay to consider someone else and be there for them. I think it's always okay to do that. What I'm trying to say is make sure all of your affairs are in order. Make sure you're not putting yourself on the back burner for the sake of someone else. Always put yourself first. And I think that's a big difference between being kind and being nice. Always do what's best for you first. Because doing what's best for someone else before doing what's best for you, ultimately you end up with the short end of the stick. And that person you prioritize before you doesn't give a damn. 9 times out of 10, most people say, well, I didn't ask you to do that. And now you've extended your energy and your time for someone who didn't even appreciate it, your care. So I think it's always important to put yourself first. And that's what could distinguish you from a nice and a kind girl. And I think it's totally okay to be nice. But I think where nice girls go wrong is they don't always protect themselves first. And I think it's important to always make sure you're good first. Make sure you're taken care of first. Make sure you're being respected. Don't tolerate anything from anybody because you feel like you have to. You don't have to do a damn thing but be black and die. You ain't gotta do a damn thing but be black and die, if I'm being honest. Just always put yourself first, because when you put yourself last, it shows up in your life in specific ways. And then a lot of times people will have you left feeling like, well, damn, I helped you. I was there for you. When were you there for me? And now you're building resentment when no one really asked you to put them before you. You chose to do that. And I notice when you constantly, from experience, I've noticed when you consistently show up that way, people expect it out of you. And it gets to a point where you're used, abused, and not appreciated. So the moral of this video is it's okay to be nice. Just be nice with boundaries. Be nice and prioritize yourself first. If you're being disrespected, handle business. You don't always have to keep the peace, you know? I'm not saying always return energy, but it's important to remind people who they dealing with. And when you're always keeping your cool and acting like, oh, it's okay, and allowing certain behaviors, those behaviors repeatedly show up in different relationships, in different scenarios. And you're left feeling like, well, damn, I never deserved any of this. You right, you didn't. But that's why you have to put yourself first. Because at the end of the day, no one really cares about you but you. No one is gonna prioritize you like you. No one is gonna see the value in you the way you see the value in yourself. So you ain't gotta be mean. But oftentimes, you know, having boundaries and making people respect you, it might show up as a little not so nice. But that's okay. That's okay. Stop feeling like you gotta walk on eggshells to be liked, to be cared for. Because if you feel like you have to do that, you aren't around the right people anyway. But I think a lot of girls were raised and taught to be nice. And it's detrimental in a sense because it doesn't serve you well. In the moment, it might seem like it, but over time, you realize you aren't being appreciated, you aren't being respected, and that doesn't feel good. And it really harms women to be taken advantage of when this whole rhetoric of being a nice girl is really placed upon you. It really harms you. It does more harm than it does good. And you don't really have to finish last. But in order to reverse that narrative, you got to make some changes that may not be what's best for everyone else, but that's the point. It's not about what's best for everyone else. It's about what's best for you. And then whatever you have left over to give that. But do you want to be respected or do you want to be liked? And sometimes being a kind girl with strong boundaries, being a little selfish, to the outside world is not received that well. But I guarantee you'll be respected a whole lot more versus being a nice girl and doing what you think is best for everyone else and what you think everyone else expects out of you. That's not getting you ahead. It's just constantly placing you in situations and scenarios with people who do not see your value. And I think that's why the whole saying of nice girls finish last is even a thing, because you're kind of putting yourself last. So I think some important steps to take to kind of reverse this ideology in your life is to start saying what you think more. You don't have to be rude or mean about it. You can be very direct, very assertive, and still very respectful. Start asserting more boundaries. Start doing what's best for you first. Stop always going with the flow if that's not the flow you want to go with. Always prioritize yourself first. And then you'll see such significant change in your life and your relationships And you'll notice that people handle you with care more and with more respect and more value. So it's not about going from being a nice girl to being a mean girl. It's about going from being a nice girl to a kind girl, a girl who is respected. Respect will get you a lot further than being liked will. That's what I got for you today. Yeah, protect yourself. It's not all this cracked up to be being a nice girl. And this is me speaking from experience. It's gotten me walked all over and just simply not valued. And we want to be valued and respected. The people that's for you will appreciate you, will appreciate the value you see within yourself and the standards you hold to yourself. And you'll align with better relationships. And it'll also get you a bit further in life faster. So yeah, nice girls do indeed finish last. So maybe just try switching that up a little bit and see if it helps and where it gets you. And I hope this helps, and I hope it makes sense. Until the next video, toodles.